The Springboks inflict a record defeat on Wales as European rugby returns and the Rugby World Cup 2027 draw is made. Welcome back to the Ruck and Roll Show. Dom, we predicted it wasn't going to be pretty, but how bad was that from Wales?
Yeah, pretty terrible. What a waste of time. What a waste of a lot of people's time. I mean, I feel sorry who went and actually watched it. I know you were there, weren't you? But there was no point. And I know that Khaleesi came out at the end of the game and was like, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. But I mean, come on, mate. There's like 11 places that separate the two of them on the world rankings. At least make it worth everybody's time. Yeah, just like I say, a massive waste of time. The only international game going on that weekend, there was no point for it. So yeah, but well done, South Africa. You proved that you can beat a team like Wales.
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a different view of it. That was last time. That's why Dom's little comment there. I managed to get in the press box for this one as part of just along with work shadowing opportunity with ITV. So I saw a bit of a different view of the game. I spoke to Doylek the day before, and there definitely was a bit of a vibe, certainly in and around sort of the media and sort of I suppose in and around the city of Cardiff, really, that this game was gonna be. It's like it was quite daunting in the week leading up into it. Up till it, and I mean, it went probably as badly as it could have gone, really. 13 players missing for Wales, obviously outside that sort of Premiership URC international window, so they couldn't call on those players. A couple of injuries with obviously Jack Morgan out as well, and it just really left Wales as bare as they could be against the Springboks. And I've seen a lot of things being said, Dom, where it's like, the game never should have been played. And there is an argument for that. And I think whilst I was watching the game, I was increasingly thinking that as the game went on, it was just like a bit of a waste of time. But at the same time, I suppose they had put this one in the fixture list and years in advance. I think it was sort of, what was said, 4 or 5 years in advance, and that's why this fixture was now, and why it was put outside the international test window. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure in terms of the nuances of what's changed with the rules since then. But it's just absolutely awful from Wales. I mean, there's nothing else to really say, to be honest, about the game. Record home defeats. First time they've been nilled at home in 33 years. Just absolutely awful, really. It wasn't a terrible start in that first 10 minutes, but like it just. After that, there was just really, I think they got up to their 5 metre line once, just sort of on the 50-minute mark, were unable to go over. And even in that attack, Dom, there was you didn't really think they were going to go over.
No, it's one of those teams with South African where as soon as they get going and they click into gear, they go foot to the floor. The obverse with Wales, as soon as they kind of hit a bit of, lose a bit of morale or get a bit of a hit, they're just such a deflated team. And that's because you've got two very opposite sides of the coin. You've got a team who are so used to winning at the minute that, even from positions where they haven't been the strongest, they've been in a losing position and they've come back and won. They've had that ingrained to them. And likewise, Wales haven't, they've had to absolutely fight tooth and nail to get any result. Look at that one against Japan. It was last minute. It's all about making a habit of what you do. And for both of those teams, it's winning and losing. Wales just need to. Yeah, it's probably I don't know. I'm trying to see the positives in it. Maybe it's good that they did play them because they know the standard they need to work at. They need to. The Steve Tandy can look back on the game and go, "This is how they were." Remember how the intensity that they brought, etc., etc. So I think there's a lot they can take from that. There is so much they can take them from that, but also, as we both alluded to, there is so much that fights against that argument that it really did not. It wasn't a game that needed to be played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there was very little sort of. Well, there was very little drama in it, I suppose, in terms apart from just tries being run in left and right. We were surrounded by lot of Springboks fans who were getting very excited as well.
There was the bit of the drama at the
There
end of the
was
game.
a bit. That's what I'm going to come on to. The Eben Etzebeth gouge. Now, I mean, you have to say, Dom, I don't know what's been said to Eben Etzebeth at the end there, but I mean, what was that all?
It's you're a professional rugby player. You know that whatever you do is under a microscope. There are 20 odd cameras in a stadium. They're going to catch your every move. So if you're there, even if it's just like a bit of a push in the face, like you're going to get you're going to get told off. But to gouge someone's eye is just ridiculous. It's stupid. And I think 12 weeks is a very soft punishment. I think, first of all, they need to scrap this whole week system. It needs to be actual game weeks rather than just general weeks. Because, I mean, I've not completely read what the punishment is, but does that rule him out of club games as well? It doesn't punish him for an international stage. Which is probably what needs to happen because that's where he's committed the offence. That's who he's committed it for. So yeah, it's stupid by him. But yeah, I think the punishment as well is not harsh enough.
Yeah, well, it was really not a great one, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, a very dramatic end to that game, really. But yeah, moving forward for both these sides, I mean, two opposite ends of the spectrum. When you talk about I guess tier one, you probably are using that word loosely with Wales at the minute, I suppose. But where do you think both these sides are at, sort of with heading into, I guess, a World Cup in 2 years' time?
Obviously, South Africa in a very, very strong position, probably going into it as favourites.
Yeah.
Wales probably looking. A lot of people are probably pinning them to be lucky to get out of the group. Yeah, it's very, very different ends of the spectrum, and it'll be interesting. I think with Wales, the only way they can go is up. They can only improve from where they have been over the last few years. So I think build on the team they've got. As I said last week, that they've got a very good. They're starting to establish players in each position now, where you've got absolute nailed on people. And that's very all well and good, but now they just need to build around that, fill in the rest of the gaps, and then have people in place who can slot in wherever and still do a very good job. So, and then it's just drills, and ensuring that it's repetitions, getting those in, and being playing the best rugby they can with who they've got.
Well, it's reports coming out. It's funny you say that they'll be requesting the clubs to release some of the international players for a bit more training. So we'll see how that transpires. But I think they definitely need training ground reps. On South Africa, I was in the press conference with Rassie Erasmus and Sia Khaleesi. Not a brag, definitely a brag. And I asked him a question at the end. I was like, you are so dominant. You should have been so dominant for the 2 World Cup wins, and it doesn't look like you have any weaknesses. What area do you think you could develop? Because I think that's sort of the only question you can sort of ask him, because you're like you're scratching your head and you're looking for answers. Like, what is the weakness of the side? Now, he said something like basically bringing more players in, getting like some of their backline gel together, which was sort of the main point I took from it. But like, I mean, where is the weakness in the side? Can you see any of it?
I genuinely, I can't. I think you look at every aspect, even down to each position. They're pretty good everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, lineouts are top notch. Scrums brilliant, as we know. They've got one of the best front rows in the world. Backline is great, and they've got a settled 10 now. They've got pacey wingers. They've got the aerial ball is brilliant. The centres run hard. Defensively, they're pretty airtight. It's really, really difficult to pinpoint one area where you can be like, okay, they need to work on that. And even if you try and point one out, you're probably going to get people saying, well, no, they're really good. And it's like, well, yeah, they are really good. But if you're having to pick out, it's like, it's a needle in a haystack almost. It's like trying to pick out one tiny little margin or, area of improvement that is just realistically not even there. So it's so difficult. But
Yeah, just to finish on that, I think just as you say, it's very difficult to see that. I think any games that they've lost this year, I think it's almost been like just overthinking the game plan, to be honest. Like I think that's literally been it. Australia, they sort of just overcomplicated things, and then Australia just sort of identified just, I mean, maybe in the backfields, but then I think they've shored that up since the Australia game. So yeah, it's really hard to see where any of the or any errors are going to come from, really, from them.
I've got one. Discipline. They can work on the discipline.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point, actually, because you had Sasha's nearly yellow card last week, or the week before, rather, against Ireland, and then you've got, obviously, the Epsabeth eye gouge, so that'll be something that they'll want to be shoring themselves up on. But yeah, we'll move on to that World Cup draw. So that was made just yesterday morning, and I mean, we've got some very familiar foes in this in the pool stages. So I think the highlights really here are the hosts Australia against their bitter rivals New Zealand, and that's in Group A. And they are joined by Chile and Hong Kong. Pool B is South Africa, who've got probably a fairly decent draw here. Although I suppose two sides in Italy and Georgia who could give you a decent game. Romania as well. Argentina will face Fiji. That'll be a very interesting one, and they'll have Spain and Canada in their group. We've got familiar foes facing for the third time in the knockout stages, Ireland and Scotland, and they're joined by Uruguay and Portugal.
It's a really good group.
That's an interesting group, isn't it? There's a couple of good sides to watch in that one, really. Pool E is France, Japan, SA, and Samoa. So the French will fancy their chances in that one. And then what is probably the highlights in terms of, well, it really speaks up to the headlines given the weekend's result and how good an autumn England have had. England will face Wales, a repeat of that 2015 fixture in the group stages, and they'll be joined by Tonga and Bruce Houston's Zimbabwe. Bruce, who we had on the show in the summer, he'll be facing up against Henry Pollock. So there you go. That is the pool draw, and if you sort of, I guess the main question is, Dom, how do you feel with that one as an Englishman?
I'm delighted. We're in Group
F. You might be. I told all my English friends as soon as they came in the kitchen that this is the World Cup draw, and they were like, yes. So
yeah, I mean, we've got Wales, brilliant. We've got Tonga, brilliant. Zimbabwe, brilliant. Yeah, we've got quite a nice, a breezy group stage, I'll say the least.
Wow, that could come back to bite you in 2 years' time. That could come back to bite you.
I mean, I really hope not. I can't see many results. I don't think. I mean, you look at our squad at the minute. I don't think anybody's on the edge of retirement. Maybe Jamie George. This will be his last tournament. But maybe as well George Ford. But equally, he could go for years, realistically. But I think out of everybody, I mean, obviously we got the second lowest ranked team. I mean, Wales, Japan are kind of flip of a coin, who's better. But I think I'd rather have played Wales than Japan. But equally, Wales more likely to be a bogey team. But yeah, those are the teams. It would have been quite. There's a big jump between them. I'll say that.
Do you think? No. Do you think Tandy can possibly close that gap in 2 years' time, or do you think England are just going to go like that and Wales they're going to struggle? I think
Wales. I said earlier. Now Wales are definitely going to improve. I mean, it would be ridiculous if they didn't improve in that time. But I think they're kind of they'll go up like that, but England will still go on an upward trajectory as well, because you look at how we played in the Autumn Nations, we were, one of the best teams there, undoubtedly. And that's not me just, having rose-tinted glasses on. It is truthful.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So, and I think we're going to have a good Six Nations. We're going to have promising games from here on out. We're really getting an established group, and it's nothing but exciting. But I think yeah, I think when it comes around to the World Cup, yes, the game against Wales will be far scarier than what it probably would be if we played right here, right now. Yeah. So yeah, Tandy's he's got a job in his hands, but it's not going to be enough, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, that'll be a very interesting one to see in 2 years' time. Sort of if the gap between the teams is still there, or if there's if Wales can really push using that game. Yeah, I think from an Irish perspective, I think that's a decent group for us as well. I think Scotland are a side that we usually do pretty well against. Where are they going to be in 2 years' time? Or are we going to be in 2 years' time? That is the question. Quite sure, really, to be honest. I think Ireland, you sort of feel like they're plateauing at the minute, but you've got Andy Farrell in charge. You do have some younger players that could really step up in the next couple of years. Your Craig Casey's, Jack Crowley. It'll be interesting to see who establishes themselves as the number 10 there as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. I would quite fancy Ireland in that one. And it's interesting when you think of the permutations of these groups. Ireland, if they can win that group in Pool D, they will be put on a slightly favourable side of the draw, which would be different to obviously their last World Cup, where they were thrown in with South Africa, France, and New Zealand, who they went out to in the quarter-final. It's
Yeah, I mean,
similarly quite good for England as well, Dom. What do you make of the sort of path that England could possibly take?
we win the group, and I think we win the whole tournament, and I'm being genuinely serious about that.
Oh, stop.
I,
I'm gonna
if
clip
we
this up.
Yeah, do it. If we win the group, we win the whole tournament, because it would mean I think it would mean in the quarterfinals, if the favourites all win their groups, if every top tier side wins their group, it means we'll get New Zealand and South Africa in the quarterfinal, and I think whoever wins that is going to then be in the final. But that's going to be it's such a tougher path to then get to the final. I think England would end up facing France in the semis.
I think it's maybe. I don't think it's until the final that you'll face one of France. If Ireland and England win their draw, I think it is a case of France, South Africa, and New Zealand will be on one side of the draw if all goes as expected. Because we've got obviously a Pool A winner, which will probably be New Zealand. On that side of the draw.
Oh, so, yeah, sorry.
You've got Pool B winner, which will most likely be South Africa. And then you've got Pool E winner. I'm just going to double check that we're getting that correct.
Yeah. So it was that pool, the opposite end of the draw from England is the winner of Pool C, winner of Pool D. So that's likely Argentina versus Ireland. So whoever wins that one will probably beat England, which would be the runner of A, and the runner of E, which is likely Japan and Australia.
Yeah.
I fancy England have definitely got the nicer side of the draw, but yeah, like I say, it's that winner of A, winner of B, South Africa, New Zealand.
That'll be a cracker.
It's going to be
a shame
really
that's a quarter final. Although I suppose we got a pretty cracking 2023 finals.
Yeah, exactly. And then as well, you've got France kind of with a nicer run through as well, so they're going to have a massive game against one of those two, and then so hopefully it kind of wears whoever is on that side of the draw out for England to kind of come into the final and claim the Webb Ellis Cup
for the second time. Yeah, I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, Dom. I think with the trajectory that you're going on, I think you brought in a pretty good point there. It's just whether that can translate onto a World Cup final against South Africa, or New Zealand potentially. So Ireland, you hesitate to make any predictions about Ireland and a World Cup quarterfinals nowadays. I think we've got a potential one against Argentina, so the ghosts of 2015 in Cardiff could come back to bite us again. Hopefully, but I don't think personally we can ask really for a better draw than that, to be honest.
I do think you've got the hardest group.
Do you think so?
I really do, because I mean, Portugal are a good side, and definitely one of the worst out of the lower nations. That fourth group. But excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think Samoa was maybe the other one that you might not have wanted, but I think being a physical European side, it could be a thorn in the side, and Uruguay are obviously a side that shouldn't be messed with either. Shouldn't be
Yeah, well,
written
they
off.
pushed France quite close. I remember in the last World Cup. So yeah, I mean, probably overall it is going to be the probably the highest quality one when you compare it across the board. Because then you've got Group A, which is pretty good with New Zealand and Australia, but then are Chile and Hong Kong going to be able to compete? Probably
Yeah.
Chile will be able to compete for short spells of those games, but Hong Kong, you'd imagine, are going to be up against it for sure. But yeah, well, 2 years out now we know what the matchups are going to be. So I think this is something that was asked of me, Dom, from friends that don't watch rugby. It's like, why do they make the draw so early? But I think with rugby, I don't know how you say it, but I think it's a good thing that they do it like this. I'm not quite sure what the reason is, but I think it's good because then the teams can sort of like work on the tactics, and then it's quite a good game usually.
You can. I mean, teams are going to be analysing each
Yeah,
other for. I mean, well, for near on 2 years. So for a team like Hong Kong, they're going to be analysing the hell out of how New Zealand and Australia play, and even and even Chile, because that's the game that they're going to look at and go, we could get a result from this. It's not likely, but we still could get a result from this. Chile, very good side.
yeah. They ran out like, well, not close, but they were within 15 points of them, which was pretty good going
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's fairly likely that Razzie Erasmus is going to know Romanians, tight heads, props, second cousins, surname by 2027.
yeah. I mean,
That's
he's a bit of a nose, isn't he?
a nose. What does that mean?
Bit of a nose. He's just like he's a bit of a know-all. Has got a ridiculous knowledge of
Yeah,
of everything.
he is quite, yeah. He knows his stuff. To be fair, he does his research. He'll be thinking quite deeply about that one. But yeah, that's the World Cup draw. Right there, guys. I mean, that's a couple of interesting matchups in that one, and England and Ireland will be happy, I would imagine, on the whole. But moving on, we did have some domestic rugby returning at the weekend. I will probably just run down through these results and sort of pick out the key games of the weekend. So we had Sharks, Exeter getting a victory, second half comeback in that game. Huge victory for them. They're really looking like a side that is cooking with oil. This year we have Leicester, who beat Newcastle 39 points to 17, so no win for Newcastle still. Ulster got their first victory of the season against Harlequins 26-15. We had Bristol Bears absolutely thump Northampton Saints at Ashton Gate. They were really on form that day. Probably the biggest one of the weekend, and probably the one with the most consequences for the league in terms of how it'll look going forward, I would imagine, Dom, was Bath 36, Arsons 29. What an absolute superb game of rugby this was, by the way. What do you make of this one, and can anyone stop Bath?
Yeah, I think some people can stop Bath. I mean, Bath have already been stopped this year, haven't they? So it's a weird one with Bath, because when they were lost to Leicester Tigers, they didn't exactly go easy on them. But it was it was just it was a bit of I probably more of an anomaly is the best way to describe it. But just good. They are just good. Everywhere you look on the pitch, it's just top draw. I think they were only lacking a few positions, maybe in the centres in the back row, but even then they were just so on it. Giving some healthy rotation, not changing the squad too much, and still performing really well. Yeah, just dominant, and Sarri's put up a really good fight, but yeah, just not enough. I mean, they were leading pretty much the whole of they were leading the whole of the first half, quite a lot of the second half, and then Bath just ran away with it, and it was that danger man Henry Arundel who really put his mark on the game.
2 tries in that game for Henry Arundel. I mean, what performance from him. He's really laying down a marker in this league. I think top scorer in the league as well. He's been just absolutely rapid. When that ball, when he intercepts that ball, there's only one outcome. There, he's just got absolute gas, and he scores the winning try as well after some great work and great impact from Max Ajomo as well. He's doing really, really well. Any other sort of thoughts on that round of fixtures?
Yeah, I thought Gloucester would win. It was good for them. They needed that because it's only going to carry them forwards. You know, they've had a really, really tough start to the season, and if you're a Gloucester fan, you'd be disappointed with how it's been so far, especially after a somewhat successful season last year for sure. I thought Bristol were outstanding. That's the best. They seem like they're back to their best. I mean, they completely blew Northampton out of the water. I mean, Bristol hardly spent any time inside their 22. So the zones you want to be playing that game. And finally, just on the Friday, I thought Sale absolutely bottled it. They should have won that game, deserved to win that game. But yeah, just to lose it pretty much right at the end, it's just agonising for them. But yeah, so much good from Exeter. I mean, Henry Slade once again just proving how good he is in his part. Daft Jenkins, yeah, but he's a motorhouse, isn't he? Just tackling left, right, and centre, everything. But I mean, when you've got
done with some of that in Cardiff,
yeah, out there they really could. But I mean, when you've got Daft, you got Tom Hooper, you got Ethan Roots. When you got those three just tackling all over the place, it makes the jobs a lot easier for the backs, that's for sure. As the old saying goes, forwards win your games, backs just decide by how many.
Okay. Spoken like a true forward. Yeah, well, I mean, there is no doubt that Exeter's pack has been absolutely superb this season. But just to look at the Prem table, as 6 matches that have elapsed. Bath leading again, Exeter Chiefs and Northampton Saints slowly behind them. Leicester, Bristol, Saracens in the mid-table, Sale Sharks, Harlequins, and then it's Gloucester and Newcastle Red Bulls at the bottom there. So yeah, you can see sort of teams starting to take shape. Not teams getting away from each other as it normally wouldn't be at this stage of the season, but you can sort of see what teams are going to be challenging this season, what teams are sort of struggling a wee bit more. But to move on to the ERC, a couple of big results in that as well. Ulster thumping Benetton with a fantastic second half performance, a great performance. Watch out, Andy Farrell by Jude Postlethwaite at centre for Ulster, who was absolutely superb. Just great physicality, great running, great distribution from him. He's proven to be a real young star for Ulster. Dragons getting beat 24-10 by Leinster. RJ Snyman making a glorious return with a couple of typical offloads from him. Bulls losing in Pretoria to the Lions. Potentially that could be as a result of some South Africans internationals missing, but a great result for the Lions nonetheless. Cardiff getting a 29-14 victory, missing all their Welsh internationals, which was a fantastic result for them. And to couple that result, you get Scarlets, who beat Glasgow 23-0 with a very young side, which is just, I mean, that was completely out of the blue, to be honest.
Stupid by Glasgow in that one, really.
Yeah, I mean it's 23-0 is quite stark. They just weren't at the races for that one really. Connacht thrashing the Sharks. Sharks' dismal start to the season continues in Galway, 44 points to 17. Edinburgh just edging out Ospreys. Another good performance from the Welsh side. Seems like the regions were performing a lot better than the national team this weekend, although I suppose the standard of opposition was slightly higher. And then a top of the table clash between Munster and Stormers ended in a Stormers win away from home. Absolutely huge result for them. So yeah, my thoughts on this, I think the league is taking form. Leinster sort of pushing their way back up the table inevitably. The Stormers, I mean, what a great result that was. That was a very strong Munster side. Ulster looking pretty decent as well. It'll be interesting to see how they perform in Europe. They'll have Racing 92 in Belfast this week, and Cardiff as well. Second place in the table. Really pitching it up for the Welsh sides with the other three in the bottom four. So they're definitely very much flying the flag in the URC. Dom, any thoughts on the URC this weekend and any of these sides' prospects going forward?
Yeah, as I say, I think Glasgow went pretty weak against that Scarlet side, and it was completely the wrong move. I think they just didn't get that balance right of keeping first team players in there, but giving some younger lads a bit of a shot. Edinburgh did a bit of a different thing. Playing some first teamers, but also giving some fringe players the chance to play. And it worked out well for them. Although I think Ospreys were really unlucky not to get more from that game. Leading the majority of the game. A very, very tight one though up in Edinburgh. Cardiff really impressed me as well on Act 2. Although Sharks aren't having the best season, and obviously they were missing quite a few lads with the South African team. But yeah, I think Leinster, I think the couple of results that they had at the start of the season were just as we would have thought, just a couple of it was just some nerves, maybe start of season nerves.
Well, they're not running away with it, so Dom. To be fair, I mean,
No.
you sort of expect them to really hammer the Dragons, especially with some of the internationals that they had playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd expect more from them, but I don't think they're still going to be right up there come the end of the season. I think that's for sure. It's just, like you say, they had a bit of a weird start, to say the least. But yeah, it's going to be interesting with the European Cups going on.
You mentioned that European Cup, and that is a fantastic segue into that one. We've got Sales Sharks versus Glasgow starting on that Friday night. We've got Bayonne versus Stormers. That's going to be a very interesting one. Manu Tuolangi's Bayonne. Just to touch on Bayonne, and particularly Manu Tuolangi, have you seen the video of them eating sardines?
No.
So there's a video of them eating sardines, basically, and all of them are like scrumping their faces up and stuff like that, and they're hating it. And then there's just Manu Tuolangi, and he's just like chomping down on it. He's just eating it like it's nothing. And he was on the For Love of the Rugby podcast, and he was basically saying all the rest of the boys had ate the fish head, and he was the only one to like actually eat it properly, with like eating it, in the body. So thought that was quite a funny one from him. But yeah, that'll be a big game for Bayonne, welcoming the URC leaders there. Slight weird digression from me, to be honest, but it's just a funny story from the world of rugby this week. Saracen welcoming Clermont Auvergne to Stomax. That'll be one of yesteryear in the European Cup. Remember when those two used to battle out for European Cups back in the mid 2010s. The Vodacom Bulls will welcome Bordeaux Begle, so they'll be looking to welcome a lot of their South African internationals back for that one, because that'll be a huge test with the reigning champions. We will have a clash between La Rochelle and Leicester Tigers. That I reckon that'll be quite a tight one. Leinster will host Harlequins. Scarlets host Bristol Bears. So we'll see if Scarlets can build on the momentum of their first victory of the season. Bath will host Munster. That's another sort of classic European clash that you love to see. Poole will start their first Champions Cup game against the finalists Northampton Saints on Sunday, alongside Toulouse and Sharks, as well as Gloucester and Castres and Edinburgh and Toulon. So we've got quite a lot of big games in that one. Any sort of key contenders that you'd have for the European Cup this year?
I mean, obvious to say, isn't it, really? But Bath, they're going to be up there for sure.
Can they finally do it, though, Dom? That's the question. There's a couple of sides in there, a couple of French sides. Do you think Bath can actually do it?
I think they've got every good chance. They have got every good chance, but there are some good French sides up there, as you say. I think that Bayonne Stormers game is going to be really interesting, especially if Stormers get Ngomazulu back, Willemse and Reinach as well. So yeah, if they're full strength, I think they could beat Bayern, but it'll still be a good game, like I say. Glasgow obviously are always up and about in these European Cups. Leinster won't roll over too easily. Bordeaux as well obviously won it last year, didn't they? So they'll be up and about there. Saris. So yeah, there's quite a few who will be up and about in the rankings for sure. But I think if you're going to look out for one, it's got to be Poe, who could be sneaking about in the higher orders.
Interesting. Do you think they can get far then?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think I can't remember who they play.
They'll play in this round of fixtures. They will play Northampton and Bristol. And then I need to remind myself of their final two opponents. Here, hold on. Let's see. We will have Pooh against Scarlets as well. And they'll also play. Oh, hold on.
Bulls.
The Bulls. Right. What do you reckon about that one? Do you think they can still go far?
I think, well, they've got Bulls at home, which is probably a more favourable side of the draw. Scarlets, they'll probably beat. Yeah, I don't see why not. I think they've got the better games at home. Obviously, Northampton they'll be up for it, but they're always a good one in Europe, aren't they? You know, didn't have a great league campaign last year, but really performed in Europe, and then obviously, yeah. So it'll be really interesting. But I think Poe can come out of this with qualification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I could push you for a winner,
I'm gonna say Bath.
Bath. Okay.
Gonna
Bath, given the quality they've got, you'd imagine they'll be up there in around sort of set. You'd hope they would make the semi-final stage. I think there's just so much quality though, Dom. I think Bath are the sort of side from the Premiership that should realistically be in and around there. But then you've got URC sides, you've got the Bulls, you've got Stormers, you've got Leinster. Glasgow, maybe not quite. And that's those French sides. It's Toulouse and it's Bordeaux as well. I think I'm gonna go for Toulouse. To be honest, I think they've started the season.
They were going to be the other team I said.
Yeah, I think just the quality they've got, honestly, and they didn't win it last year, obviously, so they'll be wanting it badly this season. So I think I'm going to go for the boring option and go for the Toulouse, the record holders for the most Champions Cup victories. But to touch quickly on the Challenge Cup before we finish, we have Ulster kicking us off against Racing 92 on Friday night. They've picked a strong team for that. Angus Bell will make his first appearance off the bench if all goes well. The Lions will face Benetton at Ellis Park. Stade Francais will host Cardiff. The Black Lion, the Georgian team, will face Montpellier at home. Lyon will host the Newcastle Red Bulls. Zebra will host Montauban, a new side in the top 14, so it'll be interesting to see them make their European bow. We have got Perpignan hosting Dragons, Ospreys hosting Connacht, Exeter hosting the Toyota Chiefs to finish off that, or Cheetahs rather, to finish off that round. So yeah, a lot of decent sides in the Champions Cup, Challenge Cup rather, this season. Besides, I'll be slightly disappointed, like your Exeters and like your Ulsters, not to be in the top table of European rugby. But, any favourites for this one, Dom, and who do you think is going to win it?
I got a couple. I think Chiefs have to be up there. I think Cardiff as well have got to be up there. Lions, Ulster as well. Got about the boys, obviously, haven't I?
I was willing you on to say that. I was like, oh.
I think they'd probably be my ones. Ulster, Cardiff, Exeter Chiefs.
Any French teams you fancy there?
I mean, we've got Perpignan, probably nowhere near. Montauban, Montpellier, not really. I'm not feeding the French side. Stade Francais probably will finish off the best. Maybe get out the knockouts. Yeah. Not feeling the French sides on this
Not
side and
feeling.
on this side of the draw.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. They're so unpredictable, aren't they? The French sides in Europe, especially traveling away from home, but they're usually in the previous years they've been quite good. I think, yeah, I tend to agree with you in terms of the favourites. I think Ulster. I think we start quite well this season. I do think we have good start to the season. Racing will hopefully try and get a win there. Cardiff, I think again are a good side, but whether they have the depth to compete on sort of two fronts or sort of try and keep their URC position high enough, I think that'll probably be their main priority, Dom, in all honesty. So I think they could potentially fall away sort of as the rounds go on. I think Stade Francais could potentially be a bit of a dark horse. They usually play quite nice rugby. It's just putting it together for them, really. Montpellier and Lyon potentially, probably more likely to be Lyon in my opinion. And then, yeah, I think for me, the clear favourites are Exeter Chiefs after their start to the season and the quality that they've got.
You talk about the unpredictability of the top 14. I was just looking at how close the table is at the minute, and there's 5 points between 4th and 11th. So it's a mental league, and everybody beats everybody, and everybody loses to everybody. It's crazy. I mean, you've got Bayonne in 5th with -5 points difference, but then Montpellier are in 7th with a 63-point difference.
It's a
crazy league.
It's a mental league. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go for Exeter, Dom. What about you?
I think I'd have to agree with you. The way they've started this season is it's really promising.
Is that an English 1-2? An English 1-2 in Bilbao?
But equally, is it going to be? Is that what we're going to see in the Prem Cup, the Prem Rugby Cup as well? The cup final.
Well, the last time round in Bilbao, I believe it was Leinster and Cardiff that were the eventual winners. Both those Leinster, obviously, in Champions Cup. And
no,
Cardiff.
But what I'm saying is, are we in Twickenham when it comes to the rugby final, the Prem final? Are we going to see? Is it going to be Exeter Bath as well?
Is an interesting one. It'll be interesting to be back in Bilbao as well. That's such a lovely sort of place and lovely stadium as well. So that'll be where the finals are held this year. So we'll see how that all goes. But that rounds us up on the Ruck and Roll Show. So episode 22 of the season. We take us into the festive period, and we've got some cracking European fixtures to get the heart racing this weekend. So we look forward to that, and we'll be back next week for more. See you then. Bye bye.